Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Explain It. I'm one of your hosts, Caroline, and Ingryd will be on here in a little bit. Can you guys all hear me well? Am I coming in pretty clear? I think my microphone is connected. So, anyways, welcome. I'm excited to start another, I think we're on our fifth episode of the new year. So later on today, we're going to be talking about a few deals that Ingryd has currently. One is in Austin, Texas. We are actually looking, perfect, thank you, Victoria. We are looking to get a few people that want to understand how wraps are done, how to connect with other people and how to do that. So if you guys are in the Austin, Texas area, and you're interested in learning how to lock a deal up, how to market the deal, and would like to work it, we're reaching out to you. And then if you have anybody if you know anybody who's looking to buy and get home ownership in Buckeye, Arizona, we are also moving a deal in Buckeye, Arizona. So Round Rock, Texas, which is just north, I believe, of Austin. We'll talk about that one. And then another one in Buckeye, which is just west of Phoenix, just beyond the Super Bowl was this weekend. So there she is. I see Ingryd. She's got down with her W-2. You ready to come up here? Boom, bring you up. What's going on?
Hi.
Hi.
Good. Ooh. This is the end of a long day ponytail.
The W-2 flow. I love it. Well, so Ingryd, I was just talking about a few deals that you have. You're still doing W-2 work while you're investing.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I know that you had a lot of meetings today. You have a pretty high position at your W-2 job. So you're earning while learning and flipping deals. How do you manage it all? How do you stay on top of everything? You seem pretty busy. Every time I talk to you, you're always working on a deal or something.
Well, first of all, I feel like I have great support. So my husband, who really allows me so much flexibility to work on building our wealth. Don't like how this ponytail looks. But yeah, I live and die by my calendar. I don't watch Netflix. I, didn't even want to watch the Super Bowl, but then it ended up being a great game, so I couldn't help myself. So I would say once you start really focusing on what it is you actually want, and if you enjoy it, if you're passionate about it, then it's really easy to focus on it and kind of prioritize everything accordingly. So what's important in my life is family, my work, investing, and like my new family of friends who really focus on investing. So when I'm not focused on that, I'm usually with like someone like you, Caroline, or Marlon, or trying to stay around the kind of folks that are going to help me stay focused.
Campfire effect and freedom. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're both doing the investing. We want to have freedom to do what we want, so we don't have to be a W-2 forever working for somebody else to ask for time off, to drop a notice whenever we want to go on vacation. I know next week we're going to be in Tampa, learning about hanging out with Abraham Gray, who we had on a few episodes ago. So
yeah, I mean, technically you have a W-2, right?
I do technically have a W-2.
I know. So, I mean, I know it's closer to the investment world, but at the end of the day, we're working for the man, trying to make other things happen. And I think we're no excuse ladies. And that's what I really like about our dynamic is like it rather than make excuses, like how are we going to come up with solutions? So I love it.
I like that. Okay. Well, Ingryd, we have 13 people on here right now watching us. I introduced everybody talking about the deals that you have. I think we just jump right in and talk about them. Let's talk about that Round Rock one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what is this? How did you find it? What's going on with it?
Sure. Last year, we did a lot of focus on fixing and flipping. There was a student who had experience in fixing houses up, but more in like the multifamily space. He had a deal in Texas where a seller was in pre-foreclosure and but had a lot of equity in their home. So if you all know, in Austin in particular, and in Austin's surrounding area, which includes Round Rock, their market was very, very hot. So when we originally pulled this data around March and April time, before any sort of like changes were happening in the market, before any sort of like, I'll say red flags were happening, we were able to lock up this deal with the seller. And what we were going to do was what's called an ovation. At the time, I was not aware that if you're going to do an ovation and it's related to fixing up the property, you're going to be at a higher risk if you're not controlling the deed.
What is it? So what is an ovation, just for new people that might not even know what that? I mean, I guess I'm asking you this, and I'm going to jump in really quickly and explain it in short terms. If anybody
Sure.
here has been on HGTV and you've seen Unsellable Houses, it's twin sisters up in Portland, Oregon. That is basically what novations are. You're partnering kind of with the homeowner, sort of partnering. And what they do on the show is they go in with the reno budget, they fix the house up, they sell the house after the fact, they recoup their reno budget, and what the sisters do on the show is they do a 50-50 split of profits with the sellers and with themselves to make sure that they get paid. So
Yep.
Basically, version. Do you always split the profits with the sellers when you do novations?
That you could, yes, or you can already identify of that, what are they going to get. So that's sort of the route that we took, where it's like, we already know how much you're going to take. We're going to fix the house, and anything beyond that amount that we're going to give you, it's for us to take and split. And so when we were assessing our numbers, we didn't just use my numbers and his numbers. I actually had a realtor review and agree that our comps were on point. Our comps were showing that our house was worth around $670. Like that's what we would be able to sell the property for. And so we felt really good because we knew there was really only cosmetic issues that this house had. It needed the carpet replaced, and one of the bathrooms needed to get renovated because the seller had run out of money when he was fixing his house up. And now that he was in pre-foreclosure, he really had a hard time putting it on the market and really taking advantage of what his house could be worth, because there was glaring issues. So we're like, okay, this is like $20,000 worth of work. We absolutely can do a cosmetic, no problem. And then he had about almost $17,000 in arrears. Again, he had a lot of equity. His house, he owed around $170, and again, his house ARV is $670. So he had a lot of room. So the seller knew what he could negotiate, and so one thing that I didn't have then that I have more of now is confidence to push back on those numbers. But I will say, when we did our numbers, we were already going into $150,000, $175,000 spread. So it was a healthy spread in terms of what the outcome was supposed to be, if that makes sense. So we struggled with the seller when we took on the property and started fixing it up. The seller started somewhat harassing us through phone calls, through messages. He started showing up at the property, and it was kind of scary. So at that point, it was easier for us to close the deal with him, take a hard money loan out for the amount that we promised him, and then finish our job and put the property on the market. Now, one other aspect, and again, I'm not placing blame. At the end of the day, if you take control and you take accountability for everything and think about, if everything is your fault, what could you have controlled and what could you have learned? I allowed my partner in here to not work at the speed I would expect for a cosmetic fix like this. This really should have been like a 3-week job.
Okay, so cosmetic is just paint, typically?
It was paint, carpet, and fix up a bathroom. Those were the 3 main things that this house needed.
Okay, so just while we're talking about this, because I know our entire podcast is called Explain It. Everybody, huge thing that can help you out when you get started. And I've learned a lot from Ingryd. Actually, Ingryd has saved me from getting into a few bad deals because I've ran stuff by her. But this book is called You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. And it's from David H. Sandler. A lot of people have heard me talk about it before. Get that book, talk about upfront contracts. And you mean, obviously, hindsight is 20/20. You learn a lot from this, but get enough upfront expectation of, hey, you've told me a lot about working with contractors and being burned before. If anybody else is in the experience of, oh, look at this, okay, please help. We'll get to you, Corey. I see your comment there. We'll get to you. But having expectations of, hey, this is a cosmetic fix and flip. Cosmetic means we're doing paint and carpet. We're cleaning up the house and we're throwing it back on the market. Have those expectations because I used to work in the restaurant business and I will never go back in because I'm never teaching another person how to wash their hands and make sure they wash their hands for 2 minutes. And I realized working in the restaurant business, you can talk about a banana. We can all think right now, everybody's thinking of a banana in their mind. And I'd say, all right, explain to me what a banana is. And somebody's going to explain a banana. It's like it fits in your hand. It's this big. You peel it apart. All right, you might think it's the fruit banana. I'm thinking of the Runts candy banana, which is like the size of your fingernail. So we're both thinking of bananas. We're both correct, but we're not on the same page. So just a little tip for everybody in here. I know that you've told me this, Ingrid, because we were on Explain It. Guys, make sure you have that upfront contract. You're on the same expectations because it can come back to bite you in the rear end. So, okay, didn't go fast enough. 3 weeks.
It didn't go fast enough.
It would be 3 weeks.
Right. So I expected for us to be back on the market May, maybe June. We were not on the market until early August. So it took 3 months or close to it for a job that should have taken 3 weeks. So that is that was one flaw that happened during this process. And because the seller was expecting that we would have been on market and we would already be closing by the end of August, he knew also like, hey, where's my money? And so again, he started harassing a little bit more. So in the month of August, what we did was we took out a hard money loan for his portion, and then we took over his existing terrible mortgage, subject to. So now we have what we owe the mortgage, what we owe the hard money that pays the seller, and then thirdly, the private money lender money that we use to fix the house up for holding costs and all the arrears. So, all in, I think we're at 450 without thinking about the interest rate. Now we're at 450 and the house is supposed to sell for 650. So there's still a spread there, right?
Yeah.
The market is changing. So from a straight up data perspective, this is still very much a healthy deal. The problem that came around is that now when we have this at 650, now we have to figure out what price point should we actually put the property up for sale. Now, 650, 675. In fact, I even have comps that said my house could have probably sold for 700 because of the proximity to the park that it's at, proximity to a very affluent area of Round Rock, how big the house is,
how nice the house is,
all of those things. And so despite those data points and even our realtor saying, I think you guys can go to market at 675, I was like, no, let's go at 630. And I thought I was being conservative enough. Now, people freaked out in August. July, the rates changed dramatic. June and July, the rates changed dramatic. And so when we went to market, nothing was moving. And it wasn't just my property. I actually looked at the broad scope. Nothing was moving. And in fact, I've had a couple of flippers in that area say, it's not moving. The numbers don't support this. What are you doing? And I'm like, I have nothing else to do except lower the price. So now we find ourselves, it's February. The house did go under contract a couple of times. One time for 515. And in Texas, you can pay for what's called an option time, which is basically inspection period.
Okay.
In Arizona, you don't have to pay for that. You get automatically 10 days, and then it's negotiable. You can say, hey, if you accept my contract, I'll do it in 5 days. Or you can say, hey, I'm not even going to do an inspection. But that's more of a leveraging point. In Texas, you pay for the option to have an inspection period.
That's
And
kind of crazy. Every state's different. There's different
yeah.
rules everywhere you go. Okay, so you pay for the inspection.
And because you're paying for that inspection period, you can absolutely walk away and not give any explanation as to why.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's my understanding that in a buyer's market, a buyer could lock up a couple of deals, use that inspection period to figure out which house they actually want, and then walk away from the one that they don't want because that option fee is nominal enough, right?
How
So
much
it's
is the option fee typically?
generally from $100 to like $500. So the buyers we had at 515, they actually paid $300 for their option fee. Then they canceled on us, and I was like, "What happened and why? Explain to me so that I can go fix and address what it is you found."
And
No explanation.
nugget for everybody: always ask why when you're talking to buyers, when you're talking to sellers. Hey, creative finance wouldn't work for me. Okay, but why? Hey, I'm not going to buy this. You submit a deal to us. I typically, when you guys send us a deal at doihaveadeal@gmail.com, I'll say, this doesn't work for us because it's outside of where we're buying, or this doesn't work. We need it to be lower at this price. Always ask why. You will uncover so much, and it will help you learn. When you're new and you're getting started, always ask why. Okay?
Yeah, I usually say yes when, no why. Those are the two questions I associate with that.
I like that. Yes,
So
when
then,
and no why.
I know it's corporate life. Like that's
Hey, I love all your little nuggets you give me. You've given me great advice.
So then my realtor probed, got no feedback. And we're like, okay, it is what it is. And we lowered the price. And then we got another contract a couple weeks later, and it's for 500, and they wouldn't budge up. And I was like, okay, well, they have to know that at 500 we won't have a lot of flexibility to fix things, but if there's still requests for anything, just let us know, we'll work through it. But they canceled, and I was like, this can't be good. Like, why are they canceling? What is it that I don't know wasn't taken care of on this property that they're seeing as red flags that we're just not familiar and or just not aware of? And I've asked so at this point now we're like, okay, I believe we're just going to have an inspection done on the house that we pay for, because what are the things that are being seen as red flags that maybe we can already address through our disclosure statement to the buyers? For example, in this last one that got canceled, we were told that there might be a leak in the bathroom. And I'm like, there isn't a leak in the bathroom. We know because there was a leak in the bathroom, and that is what we fixed in our renovations. The seller had a leak. He had a bad shower, and so we put a tub in a combo, tub and shower combo to address the leak that he had before. And we fixed drywall, and we did all kinds of stuff. And so I was like, maybe there's evidence of the leak somewhere else that had happened, but there is no leak. And then in Texas, foundation issues are very prevalent. And the inspector said there might be signs of a foundation issue. And I was like, okay, show me your engineering report, or show me your like legitimate foundation report. Because when you go look at the foundation, there's nothing that, like, they didn't even send us pictures, nothing. So in my opinion, because foundation is such a prevalent thing in Texas, that really they wanted to walk away from the property. And they're first time buyers too. So I'm an agent. First time buyers come with their good and their bad. They're always really excited. This is a fun journey. But the bad of it is that they're gun shy. So issues come up if you don't have a seasoned, reasonable agent helping them and kind of walking them through issues that they might suspect, you can really scare a buyer away. So what they should have done if they really liked the house, and this is how I know they probably weren't in love with the house, is they could have said, I want my option timeline to extend, and I want to also extend the contract timeline, right? Those two things are super negotiable. So because they had that option time, they could have said, hey, I need to investigate this further. I need another week, something to that degree. And me, I'm a motivated seller. I would have said, absolutely. I also want the results of what you get back, though, just so that if it's something I have to address, I will address. But that didn't happen. And the fact that they weren't even open to negotiating this leak that they thought they saw, I know for a fact, and they really just didn't want the house. They just wanted the ability to walk away. So this is where I find myself now, where we've lowered the price so that we can get a contract faster. And so our hope is to get something at around 500, which is what our last contract was. So that we can close the books on this one and learn all our lessons from what we need to learn from this. And like I said, there was a lot of things that I could have done better.
But you're doing it right, Ingrid. This is how you get started in real estate. You go, you partner up with somebody, and you learn through mistakes. So now you know not to deal with sellers that are going to be a pain in your butt. You're never this is a really big lesson too for everybody. Do you want to you remember you're helping somebody in a situation like my favorite Ingrid quote, be the hot girl. Be the hot girl. You do not have to work with people that are not willing to, if somebody's not giving you the information on a house and they're being a thorn in your side and they're terrible, move on to a seller that needs your help. Another thing I think about, and I brought it up a few times on our podcast, is you talked about you get anxiety sometimes because there's so many people that you want to help that don't know what to do because you've gone through the process of a short sale. So guys, there are people all over the country that need help and don't know where to get started. Find those that want to work with you. Forget about the people that are trolls and terrible and move on to the next one. So Ingrid, we're already at almost 4:30 here. I kind of want to go through both of the deals that you have and let's talk about partnering on it. And everybody's joining us. Hi, welcome. Thanks for jumping into our podcast. We want to answer questions for you. I'm going to be looking for Corey's email that he just sent me. If you guys see at the bottom here, it says, do I have a deal at gmail.com? Shoot it over. I'm going to actually pull it up, and I'm live on Instagram Live as well. So everybody on Instagram Live, fine. I know you guys can see on my computer over here. So we're streaming. You guys can see Ingrid too. But jump on here on YouTube, and we will answer your questions. Want to help you guys get started. With that being said, Ingrid, let's talk about this deal that's just outside of Austin, Texas.
Yeah. So I don't have the ability to post beyond my view. Do you want to post?
Yeah, you want to send it to me?
Yeah, it's in the private chat.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Surprised it doesn't give you that ability. Things you learn while you're going live on stuff. All right, so I'm going to share the entire thing. This is your Zillow ad.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Is this sharing? You're good to go, Ingrid? You can see it right here?
Hang on a second.
Yes, you can. I can see it now. Okay, cool. Sweet. So let's talk about this. This is a 5-bed, 2.5 bath in Round Rock, Texas. Ingrid, do you want to be the realtor and explain the deal for everybody?
Well, this beautiful house sits in a corner lot. So it's a premium, much larger lot with these beautiful trees, 2-car garage, 2-story house. It has a very open concept. So if you want to scroll down, it's like seriously $1 million houses right across the street from it. Beautiful high ceilings when you first walk in. There's a dedicated office to the right where you step in. There's a half bath downstairs as well, so that your guests have a place to go and keep your more private bathroom and things upstairs. Has a dedicated dining area if that's the way you want to decorate it. and then the family room to the back. So keep us scrolling. Really nice French door.
To the backyard.
Brand new appliances. Yep. And so this has 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
That's the master. That's the
So you got
bathroom.
a jacuzzi.
Ginormous walk-in closet in the master. The
Is this
secondary
the bathroom you redid? Your shower?
Yes, we redid this bathroom. Correct.
Okay.
No leak in this.
No leak. Move-in ready. Okay.
Yeah, definitely move-in ready. Really nice.
Another half bath.
Yeah, and the half bath downstairs. So yeah, 5 bedrooms. It's big. This is where that door goes to the 2-car garage, but that's a beautiful backyard. Yep, washer and dryer area. Room enough for a pool if you wanted a pool. In this community, it's one of the rare HOAs that actually allow short-term rentals.
Oh, okay.
We were actually looking into that. But because of the partnership that I have and just the debt, there didn't seem to be a good option for that right now.
Okay. I'm just looking. So this is one of the things that when I was wholesaling a lot to hedge funds, the school zones really mattered. And this is a really good tip for everybody on here. Scroll down on Zillow and you guys can see it's got great school ratings. If you're above a 5, you're doing really well. And you're at 7, 8, and 6, that is awesome for your house. Okay. Safe too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So Ingryd, I was kind of talking to you about this. I don't know if anybody in here is from Austin, Texas. Look, we even give you guys the address. This is a deal that Ingryd actually did creatively. She's working it. So if you know anybody that wants to sell it, or if you guys are interested in potentially getting your first Airbnb or maybe a midterm rental, anything like that, Ingryd, should they just reach out to us at doihaveadeal@gmail.com? Would that be the best way if they're interested in buying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
doihaveadeal@gmail.com.
Perfect. I'm going to copy this and put this in the side chat for everybody. Shoot us an offer at doihaveadeal@gmail.com. We'll send it over to you, considering everything. We're looking for a traditional buyer at $500,000, but Ingryd would potentially make something work if you guys are interested. So guys, the way that you're going to get deals done is send out offers. The more offers you make, it's all a numbers game at the end of the day. And the last thing, I've been really focusing on my gratitude and my mindset going into things. I'm actually reading You Are a Badass at Making Money right now. And it just kind of regurgitates everything. It's all in our mindset. So having patience when you're going to getting deals done is going to help you a ton. So email us at doihaveadeal@gmail.com for that Austin, Texas one. And if you are in the area and you have anybody, if you have some free time, we're looking for people to even put out bandit signs. We'll jump in, tell you guys a little bit more about that. So we're looking for people. Oh my gosh, Jason Lombardi's in here.
Jason Lombardi, yeah. Or even if you want to put out flyers, that's another aspect that we could consider, like especially any commercial areas, in order to help get this property sold. So maybe Jason Lombardi needs some tax deductions and he wants to buy a North Austin property. Just kidding. So
Austin, Texas, right by Elon and Joe Rogan for all those fans.
No, seriously, if you want to open up a map on that property address, like it doesn't have a pool, right? That house doesn't have a pool, but it's right across from the community that is associated with. It has a community pool. It has other recreational things. Yep. Cat Hollow is known for in this area. Look at guy who does yoga other than people who are like in a bit more affluent area, right? Grocery stores nearby. There's a golf course right around the corner. So it's in a really nice part of Round Rock, again, which is North Austin, Texas.
Beautiful.
And there is St. David, I believe it's called. It's a hospital. So that's why I think midterm is a possibility here. One other aspect that I really haven't had a chance to hit up is, and so see the Heb or whatever it's called.
It's called HEB.
Yeah, it's within walking distance. So you got the grocery store, you got LA Fitness, You have
Whataburger for all the Texas people. Yeah, it's just a perfect little location. It could do really well as a midterm rental. Now that I'm looking at it, I didn't realize it was so close to a hospital. I mean, that is all the travel nurses. This could be a really good deal.
Or the Pediatric Center of Round Rock. There's another animal hospital too. I don't know. Are there traveling veterinarians?
There might
so, yes,
Okay.
Jason, buy it. Or if you have the ability to buy it and sell it back to me in creative terms, let's talk. Just to help take care of this scenario. But anywho, yeah.
Okay, I like that a lot. Yeah, this is another thing that we were talking about. So we really want to kind of do deals in our own backyard a little more. So that's another reason why Ingryd is looking to sell this deal. Speaking of deals in our own backyard, should we look at the one that's in Buckeye?
Yeah, I will say, despite maybe having some challenging times, like you have to continue moving forward. Yes, I'm trying to solve for being able to sell this property. But one of the things that Pace has said that I really love is what solves problems is making more money. So we have another property in Buckeye, Arizona. We just closed on this week that we're selling on a wrap. And I say we because I'm partnering up with the Bash Bros. If you don't know who the Bash Bros are, that's Eddie Marin. I think he says Marin, but it's Marin. And Tyler Townsley. They're great leaders in our mentorship in our SubTo community. And so, this beautiful, beautiful house is available for sale. And it's for sale for people who are looking for a primary home. So I know I have a lot of investors in my world, and they're like, oh, does it cash flow? I'm like, it cash flows for me, but not for you. So I'm trying to sell this, what's called on a wrap. Now, that fridge you see there is actually a black fridge. Unfortunately, the sellers took that stainless steel fridge and they weren't supposed to. So that was a point. It was a contentious point in our closing of this deal. They also took the washer and dryer, but that one we knew. Anywho, but yeah, this property is 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-story. The growing city of Buckeye. Eddie, I think, actually was sending his mom today or tomorrow to go like really have like a nice spruced clean to it. And then we're really stepping up the walkthroughs this week. So if anybody is interested, this is a pretty large home. It's almost 1,900 square feet. Again, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It has a family and a living room. It has an open kitchen, dining area. And so if we want to talk a little bit about the terms, so if you're somebody who's struggling to get buy a house because you're a 1099 worker, or maybe you've gone through a bankruptcy, or you have an I-10, I-10 folks have I-10 folks are people who come from other countries and they don't have a social security number, but they've been documented. Like it is a documentation of their presence here, and they pay taxes. So I-10 workers, which I don't recall what the I-10 stands for. I think it's individual tax identification number. I think that's what it is. Individual tax identification number. And so what they, when they have an I-10, they tend to not be eligible for traditional commercial loans. Or if they are, it requires like a significant down payment, at least 20%. I've never seen it below 20%. So how we're able to be like an in-betweener, because it's still a higher risk buyer, we only ask for 10% for the most part. Anywhere from 10 to 15%. On this property, we're closer to 15%. We're asking for $50,000 down payment. The purchase price is $380,000. But if you need to negotiate that down payment, we're certainly willing to talk through that. So long as the math works, we would love to get a family into this property that would normally not qualify.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to details on there. Those notes that I have in the private chat into the comments. Okay, cool.
I'm just typing it out really quickly so
everybody
can.
So another one.
Yeah. So really cool one here. I want to just kind of talk about it for a moment before we move on. So when you're really getting home ownership for somebody who, just to recap, cannot typically get approved by a bank. They have bad credit. This could be a great opportunity for somebody who's just sitting on cash, and they get the deed to the house. This is theirs. They get to keep it. They just have to pay on time.
Correct. So very much like, I actually did something like this. It wasn't necessarily what we call a wrap. A wrap is a wraparound mortgage where you you actually have to, you have an existing mortgage and then you put one on top. We actually sold it subject to an end retail buyer, and very similar expectations to a wrap, where we had a servicing company. A servicing company is a mortgage servicing company is a company that takes your payment and then applies it to the existing mortgage, and then they track as a third party to make sure that payment's being made. But it was super satisfying, Caroline. Like, honestly, it was one of my most challenging ones, because one of the partners I was working with didn't understand a lot of the process. So I had a lot of support to provide. But one of the reasons it was so satisfying is because it was a family that got to move into a property who would normally qualify, and they were so thankful. It was really satisfying to be able to help and, like, build up a community. Like, they're people who really care about the house. They really care about their community. I believe he's actually a pastor. So it was one of those, like, wow, like, this is a pivotal point in their life, and we got to help them through it.
Dude, that fills up your emotional cup too. Like, you're able to help them. Otherwise, wouldn't be able to own a house. Like, who wants to rent forever? Like, we want to get equity. We want to build that in, and that's what you're going to have the opportunity to. So if you guys know anybody, so many of us in our community are dealing with these situations and helping people. So especially in the Phoenix market, if you know anybody who's looking to get home ownership, they're tired of renting, they're tired of their rent going up every 12 months by $200, $150, whatever it may be. This is a great opportunity for you to help other people. And sometimes you help military vets that need to sell their houses because they got stationed somewhere else, and they're going to lose money when they try and sell this in the open market. So it's a great opportunity here to buy a deal.
And thank you, Sue. I see your comment. I really appreciate you trying to socialize the house that I have for sale.
That's awesome. All right, Ingrid, we have 20 minutes left here. Should we answer some questions?
Well, let's answer a couple questions. I think Ben had one. Ben Jensen, can you explain how you did the mastermind house? Have a similar opportunity, but curious what you're charging per room and how you picked tenants. So wonderful. Here's one of the things about upfront expectations. I have upfront expectations with Marlon Johnson, who runs the house, and he's expected to find the tenants and house them. But what he and I did is we determined how much per room would we charge. And part of that service is not just paying rent, it's the campfire effect. It's also Marlon being the accountability partner to everybody who lives in this house. So he's what we would call like the director of the house, so that he's setting expectations, right? And Caroline, you can maybe, I know that this is still sort of like getting baked, right? Like, you guys are the guinea pigs, you're the pilot, the pilot tenants. Actually, Caroline lives in the Mindset Manor. I know, by the way, your sweater matches your wall.
I know, I'm green.
So how can you explain how you did the mastermind house? So firstly, this was a pre-foreclosure. We had somebody who was in pre-foreclosure, was behind on payments. Auction was right around the corner in less than a month. And the only solution was for us to be able to buy it from them creatively. Otherwise, they were going to lose their house. So we paid the arrears, which was around $55,000. And then we paid them $25,000 so that they had some money in their pocket. And the reason we paid them, which is somewhat extraordinary, is with VAs, I don't know if you guys knew this, with
What is a
VA,
VA?
with VA loan, so the Veteran Association?
Assistance.
Assistance, sorry. Which I don't even know why it's called assistance, because it's an entitlement. Like, you guys deserve, and I say you guys because Caroline is an amazing ex-military gal. So she actually is you're a veteran, but you qualify for a VA loan, right?
I do.
Mm-hmm. So she's entitled to it. It's not an assistance. She's entitled to it. Anyway, the VA loan that they had, I actually found this out afterwards because I needed to see whether or not it was true. After you foreclose on a VA loan, did you know that 2 years later, as a as a veteran, you can qualify for a loan again?
I did not know that. That's good to know.
So when you know that information and you're a person going through pre-foreclosure, you might take that into account to say, well, will I give away my benefits of this VA loan? Or could I suffer the consequences for the next 2 years and then be able to buy a house 2 years later? So not every veteran is going to know that, by the way. These veterans did. They knew that. So they were weighing that as leverage to say, look, if we're going to let you take our VA loan for X amount of years, then I know that there's a value to that. Plus, their mortgage interest was only 2.75%. So with their mortgage interest only being 2.75, and with them knowing that they could foreclose and technically qualify for another VA loan in 2 years, they actually had more leverage than your average person who may not be aware of all that. So they asked for that money, and we obliged, because once we did the math of how much we were going to make per room versus our cash flow and what it was going to take the property, which was around $100,000 in total, like we decided that it made sense to pay them that $25,000. So
You were
hopefully
helping
that.
somebody. Yeah, but also, guys, remember, they had a little bit of they had some leverage. You were really helping them out in a situation they were going to get foreclosed on without you.
Absolutely, yes.
And I was here when Ingryd locked up the deal. I was listening to her speak to the sellers, and you did a really good job of helping them out. I mean, I know they didn't want to work with anybody, and you were persistent. I know that we were both just tagged on. Was it Femi's Instagram? Femi tagged us on an Instagram video today where it was a recording with a seller, and the seller said, I'm only reaching out to you because you've been a pain in my rear end, and you've stayed on top of me and talked to me every week about this house, so I'm only going to sell the house to you, which I thought was really cool. You stayed really, really persistent in trying to help these people out in a situation where otherwise they were going to get foreclosed on. So that was really cool. There's not enough time for them to do a loan mod and catch up all of their arrears.
Yeah. Caroline, in the private chat, I put my link tree. So Ben, if you need to figure out your situation, I highly recommend that you underwrite it using my free REI calculator. And only you can say what's worthy of your cash flow, right? Like, my cash flow requirements and my risk tolerance might be different than yours. So I would check out that free REI calculator and see if it meets your requirements. And I really can't answer that for you.
Yeah, it's up to you. So you're at different seasons as an investor. Are you a newer investor, or have you been in here for a while doing this and you don't really need the cash flow on this? You just really want to maybe make content on this to get more deals, or you need to buy something for depreciation. Jason, look at the Round Rock deal. Okay, things like that. You can all find this link tree also on Ingryd's Instagram and on mine. So you can find all of the stuff. We have link trees to help you out. I kind of want to talk about Corey. Are you still on here? Because I'd like to bring you up here and talk to you about the deal. He did email us. I did reply back to him. I want to help you. So Corey, if you're on here, I'm going to put an invite in the side chat. Just click on that and we'll pull you up on stage. But guys, check out this. I'm just going to go quickly through her link tree. Some deals right here. Dude, if you guys are looking to join Real Brokerage, if you're looking to wholesale and you're already a realtor, obviously you need to join Real Brokerage with Ingryd. Relay Financial, you want to get bank accounts and not pay for them. YouTube channel, there you go. There's our Explain It for Ingryd. If you want to join SubTo, Ingryd will help you out. I know SubTo is sold out in most parts of the country right now, but Ingryd will help you and she'll answer these questions. I don't even know what this one is. What is this one, Ingryd?
So I use Avail for my rentals. So it helps me manage rentals. It has the lease. It has how to get payments from your tenants. It also manages your leases. And one part that I haven't had to use is maintenance requests. So you can actually use it for maintenance requests on your properties.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, super easy to use. $50 for free if you sign up using my link. So I get $50, you get $50. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Next one, you have the free REI entry calculator, guys. Check that out again.
And that's not going to be free forever because I keep getting told that people would pay good money for that calculator. And I'm like, maybe I need to put it on like Amazon or something and charge like $5 or $10 for it. So get it free while it lasts.
There you go. Free letter of intent, the LOI templates. And then this is a really cool one. You want to talk about what happened with this?
Yeah. So last year I was nominated to be a Valiente for Latinos Contra Cancer, which was really somebody who was highlighted for the work and support that we're doing for Latinos Contra Cancer, which is a subgroup of the American Cancer Society. What's really great about them is that the Hispanic market or the Latino community, they are overwhelmed and don't understand all the resources available to them should they have a family member with cancer that has a cancer diagnosis or they themselves have a cancer diagnosis. So this subgroup of the American Cancer Society, they'll help you from beginning to end, whether you need rides, you need resources like housing, support for paying for medication, things like that. Like they provide a lot of resources for folks going through that, even therapy resources. So very, very cool group.
And then the last one.
And then follow me on Instagram. It's my glasses.
And guys, if you're watching us and you've been coming in on Wednesdays and you're getting any value, please like, subscribe, give us a comment, share the video. We're trying to get our YouTubes up and running, so we really appreciate that.
Caroline, what is your goal this year on your YouTube followership?
Thank you. Actually, I just typed that out yesterday. I was talking about it. So I was writing it down. I did this year. I'll share this with everybody.
Where are you at now?
Well, I'm just shy of 1,000. I'm trying to get to 1,000 before St. Patrick's Day. That is my goal. Is this the one I think I need right here? Trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube before St. Patrick's Day. But I wrote these out. So this is something. What do I want in my personal life? What do I want my personal life to look like? I kind of talked about this in the Zoom that I was doing it in. But I want freedom, guys. I'm a very big lifestyle girl. I like to go skydiving. I like to snowboard. I want to have we've talked about this, personal massages once a week. Like I want to get stretching. Like I want to really take care of my body and feel good about myself. So my personal life is just freedom to do what I want when I want. And then I want to envision my perfect business. So what does your business look like? And then what business do you want to be in? So I gave 2 examples here so you can see this. One, I want to have a successful small wholesaling business. Small emphasis because so many of us get in here and like, I'm going to get 30 VAs. I'm going to tackle this. You guys can be successful if you're talking to people that have problems and really need to sell and make money. So I'd like to do $1 million in assignments this year. I'd also like to acquire, we've talked about this, Ingryd, 25 doors in 2023. And then I'd also, with my wholesaling business, I'd like to even buy some deals for myself that I can keep creatively. Corey, I see you. I'll pull you up in a second. And then at the bottom here, you can see how I'm going to be doing that from door knocking, building a small team. But for my YouTube, I want to create more content and help 10,000 people realize they can get started with no money or experience as well. And then I want to get 5,000 subscribers on my YouTube before the end of 2023. So that is my goal. I wrote that out, and I'm just trying to keep things at the front of mind. I bring that up all of the time.
Wonderful. How did you get to this point? Like, who helped you identify these are questions you should be asking of yourself? Actually,
Tanisha is the one who brought this to light. So Tanisha just brought this up when we had a little Zoom yesterday, but I've been doing we've gone over it a few times. I know you and I did a Tony Robbins event. I've gone to a few masterminds. I just keep bringing it to the front of my mind. And one thing I want to say for everybody, I'm listening to the audiobook, You Are a Badass at Making Money. But like every single self-help book that I've started to devour in the last 2 years, I never was into it before because I thought it was all kind of gross. I'm like, Yeah, I was like, that doesn't actually work. These people are making it up. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. No matter what you're doing. I mean, our mind believes what we feed it, and we are constantly refeeding the same words to ourselves every day, the same thoughts. So I'm keeping that at the top of my mind. My bag's over there, but I have a little journal now. I was also one of those people that collected journals, and I didn't want to ruin them, so I've used them later, like for really important things. I'm going crazy every day. I'm doing the miracle morning, and I'm just keeping it at the front of my mind, really trying to keep it up. I see you're texting me, Corey. I'll put it up in a second. Trying to keep everything object permanent. So with ADD, if I don't see something, if I have milk in my fridge, but it's behind all of my other stuff, I need to go. I don't see it when I open my fridge. I'm gonna run to the grocery store and grab a gallon of milk. So when you keep your goals at the front of your mind, that's what you're tackling for the day. I hit my small little goals for the day, my standards, and it's helped me out a ton. So you've helped me realize this. Pace has helped me realize this. Tony Robbins, everybody. I'm talking about my campfire. That's honestly, guys, I have a VA loan. I could go buy my own house. That's why I wanted to move into the mindset house. I wanted to be around the campfire of people doing deals. LT, if you guys are looking for a notary in the Phoenix area, LT Ibir is incredible. She's here at least twice a week signing closing documents. So I'm around people doing deals. I get to hang out with some really dope people. So that's what's important to me. I want to be in that campfire.
Yeah, I love that. I love LT, and shout out to LT. Because I know that we're going to try to help her also blow up her followership on Instagram. I don't know.
I'll find her link and I'll throw it in here, but I know we're running out of time. Corey, I'm glad you're on here. Corey, I'm pulling you up right now. What's going on, dog? Can you hear us?
Hey, ladies. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for having me.
For sure, dude. So I have the email. Ingryd has not seen it. Okay. I'm just going to read it just so everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
First and foremost, thank you for your willingness to give me a hand here. Essentially, the homeowner has an auction date set for February 21st, 2023. At this point in time, she would like to keep the house. I think she has quite a bit of equity in the property. I had a call scheduled to speak with her tonight and discuss her options and get more information from her. I'm a real estate broker, and I figured worst case scenario, just market and structure a creative deal. But you want to be able to stop the foreclosure. So I replied back to you, and then I saw your phone number, and I was like, "Hey, Corey didn't answer," so I texted you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so hey, we want to help you out, so please don't get my phone number out. But let's talk about this. I did reply because there's a few ways. There's 8 ways we like to help somebody in this situation, but the first one I always go to is a loan mod.
Right.
A loan mod. And sadly, every person at every company is different, but typically you need to try and file for a loan mod. I think it's 37 days before the auction date. So
I think it was your form I saw that said that something about 13 days prior to the auction.
Well,
too short in time.
And here's the problem you've also run into now is so many lenders are bombarded with pre-foreclosures that they have stopped with their loan modification process.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not saying you should not try. I think she should try regardless, but I think you need to set up front expectations that it's likely not going to work.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that would be the first step. How long have you been talking? I mean, how do you know how far behind she is? Or are you still trying to gather?
No. So essentially, what happened in a nutshell, I just connected with her yesterday, and she was basically ignoring my messages. So I sent it kind of like a voice recording saying, "Hey, listen, not trying to offer you pennies on the dollar. I'm not like an investor," because I think she's been getting bombarded. So then I called her this morning and I was like, "Hey, just following up." And she said, "Okay, great. Told her who I am." And she said, "Well, let's schedule a call for 5:30 p.m. and I would love to talk to you about this." Obviously, she bailed on me. So it's back to the whole follow-up thing. I think what might have happened is she probably Googled me and she probably saw that I'm a real estate broker as well. And she's already told me that she wants to keep her house. So I think she probably, and again, I don't want to put my brain in her head, but just thinking logically here, I think she probably thinks my intention is to just try to sell her house and her intention is to keep it. So I sent her an email basically stating, I think it's the 12 ways to stop foreclosure or something along those lines. I told her, if you could just review this prior to our call, this would kind of give us a guideline and we can just kind of go from there. And that's kind of where we are. So obviously the intention was to speak with her and get down to the nitty gritties and see how much in arrears she is, see what she's tried already and things like that. But again, she's kind of pushed back on that call. So that's where we are.
And her auction is the 21st of February?
That's correct. So literally next week. So
I don't want you to. So I'm going to say something that seems a little controversial, maybe a little heartless. Not every seller can be saved.
Yeah.
I tried really hard to help a seller in Tucson, and was already pre-marketing to get a wrap buyer in there. And I actually found somebody who was interested.
Right.
They were not willing to budge. They're like, if you can't give me at least $10,000, then I'm not going to have you. I'm like, dude, I can then just go buy your house on auction and pay less than what I'm trying to negotiate with you.
Exactly.
So I only say that because, again, always be the hot girl, Corey. Meaning, that's what I've been learning, you know, like the deal that I took in Round Rock, I was not hot girl status enough. I really should have negotiated a much better offer, but what's done is done.
Yes.
So make sure that you always lean back on the math. Like, what does the math say and what does the math support? And sometimes you can also show them the math. Now, if she has enough equity, what's most important here, and just a quick strategy before we run out of time, if the arrears are still plentiful enough.
And just for everybody, just so you know, typically don't use the word arrears with sellers. Arrears for everybody, just what they owe. How far behind are they?
What is your reinstatement number? That's the actual terminology that you have to use with the mortgage and or the trustee. Yeah. What is the reinstatement number? And that reinstatement number, if it's still reasonable, you could have her partner with you, but just like my deal that I was explaining before, you need to control the deed. Right. So I'm happy to work with you, or Caroline would be happy to work with you to see what kind of strategies you could prepare if this is a willing seller who's willing to talk to you. And so that way you're already prepared with some solutions for her. But one thing that you're going to have to work on with her is what happens if you can't keep the house.
Exactly.
She needs to see that keeping the house may not be an option. One thing you could do, and I did this actually with somebody that I bought their house. I gave them 30 days post closing.
Oh, okay.
But I held back money, including
that's your nugget. That is your nugget, everybody. Take note of this.
I've heard about this.
Always do a holdback.
Yeah. A holdback. Now, I don't know what her reinstatement number is, and maybe that's the only thing you can afford. So again, everything comes with a caveat, a nuance. You have to assess your situation. Let's say her reinstatement number is like 20 grand and you can afford to give her 5 grand. So what you can say is, hey, I'm going to pay that reinstatement number so that by the 21st, you still have a place to be for another 30 days. And at 30 days, I will give you the 5 grand. You can actually hold back all the money that you could give her. So just something to think about.
Very interesting. So first and foremost, it's obviously not only to have a conversation, but see how much she's in arrears and kind of see what that structure looks like, and also find out like worst case scenario, which is a very likely scenario. If she can't keep the house, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Upfront expectations. Now, I will say one of my first deals I ever did when I first joined Pace's acquisitions team. I worked for him on the sales side. I could not get a hold of the seller after somebody already talked to her, and she knew like she had admitted she wanted to sell, but she was overwhelmed by everybody. So I had my own like Google. It was a different program, but just say it was a Google voice number. I was texting her from it. She didn't answer. I don't do this all the time, but I texted her from my personal cell phone because I was able to send gifts.
Yeah.
And send her a little Snoopy gift. That was
you can't go wrong there.
And she answered me, and I really built rapport with her.
Right.
And I went through everything, and like I think that's something that like there's another really, really good guy that does a great job with pre-foreclosure sellers. And I'm going to say, because I just looked up your website here, Corey, you need to, when you get people and you help them keep their homes, because if they're in I'm going to be frank here again, guys. If they're in financial duress right now, what means it won't happen again 6 months down the road, next year. And if you help somebody out, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, Corey, Caroline, Ingryd really helped me before. I trust no one like them. I want to do business with them. I know you didn't screw me over. I'll work with you again. But my nugget would be, when you help somebody save their home and stay in it, ask them to give you a Google review.
Right.
So other people can look you up and like, oh my gosh, this is like an average Joe person they've helped before.
Right.
So I would even just maybe send her a gift, maybe send her something just like, hey, I want to help you try and keep this house. I thought we could do a loan mod, but your auction's next week. Let's shoot for it and see what can happen. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to be able to keep the home. How far behind are you? Can you send me over your most recent bank statement? Now, I'm shooting off a lot because we're already at 5:01. And I know Ingryd's been doing her 75 hard, and I got to be mindful of her time.
Of course.
So this is another nugget. I know I just gave you a ton of information. Sometimes I need to shut up, and sometimes we need to shut up and practice others.
Getting it all.
Don't give them too much.
Yeah.
Give a little weight. Give a little weight. It should always be an 80-20. You're letting them do a majority of the talking. But to get the ball rolling, especially with somebody who's in denial,
which is
get them talking first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I think that's plentiful information. I greatly appreciate both you ladies. Thank you so much for your time. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. Jump in here and ask us questions. Guys, this is what it's all about. We're trying to give back and help more people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you.
Text me if you need any help with that deal. Ingryd, I know you probably had your second workout and you need to finish drinking your water today. Thank you for making time for us, and I love doing our podcast together. Guys, don't forget, Ingryd has a deal in Round Rock, Texas, right next to a hospital, right next to a yoga retreat, disc golf, you name it. I think it would be a great opportunity. We're just trying to do more deals in our own backyard. Otherwise, if we'd be moving to Austin, Texas to go hang out with all the comedy shows. So if you know anybody who's looking for a house in Austin, Texas that is move-in ready, that house here in Phoenix would be like $1 million home. That is insane. You get a lot of bang for your buck in Texas. Secondly, Ingryd has a deal in Buckeye she is looking to help somebody get home ownership with. So if you guys know anybody looking for home ownership, you don't have to get approved for a loan.
And there's a finder's fee.
Ooh,
so if you bring me a buyer, depending on what we negotiate for their down payment, I will pay a finder's fee for that buyer. So
you get paid to play? Okay.
Yeah. Pay to play, baby.
All right. Guys, please like, subscribe, do all the stuff that we ask you on YouTube. We're just trying to build this so we can help more people. My goal is to help 10,000 people in the next year and a half. Ingryd said that she was going to be better than me. She wants to help 20,000. So please help us out. We want to spread the love, the knowledge, and everything that we have. Our Instagrams are below. Give us a holler. And we did just post this here, guys. Please give LT. Just go to LT's Instagram. Actually, I'm going to share my screen because I want us to go there. Go to LT's Instagram and tell her how awesome she is. If you're looking for any notary services, LT
in Arizona.
Yeah, in Arizona, Phoenix specifically, you need to get to know LT. She is the kindest soul in the world. You need to connect with her. So come over here, give her a follow. Come like this. Give her a little heart. She's actually talking about it's actually a settlement statement, a HUD statement.
Yeah. She's teaching you about use a blue pen on your final signings, what a settlement statement is, sometimes called a HUD statement. Because if they don't have a HUD, what are they?
They're a dud. Don't work with them. So guys, give her some love. I didn't even know all the blue ink stuff. That was a really good tip. I'm not going to tell you what the blue ink is. You have to go watch her Instagram to find that out. So LT, we love you. Ingryd, I love you. Guys, I hope you guys all had a great Valentine's Day. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye, Ingryd. Bye, everybody. See you next time.